All right, hello, citizens of the Nigelverse. It's Nigel here once again, and this is going to be another movie review. Now, yes, this is the costume that I wore to work today because today is Halloween, of course. Happy Halloween to all who celebrate. If you do not, that's perfectly fine. Just a quick PSA for starters. This is kind of unrelated with like the fake glasses. These are not real glasses; they're prescription. Or I should say, they're not real glasses. They're not prescription. They are fake glasses. But with the glasses on, I'm gonna have it on for the whole video. Oh, I kind of look like Chavez Slovakia, which YouTuber absolutely he love to watch. But I kind of look like he doesn't quite look like this anymore because he grew a lot of his hair out. But I kind of look like Chavez, which is pretty funny. But um, but of course, I do have to say a quick PSA. I say this, I think, just about every Halloween whenever I do a video. If you're going out to any Halloween parties tonight, if you're doing any trick or treating, by the time this goes up, I'm sure a lot of you will probably be already out and about. Some of you might be back by now. Who knows? But for those of you who are going to be partaking in festivities, please be sure to stay safe, stay cautious, have fun, but not too much fun and try it and just be safe. Have yourself a good time, of course. Have a great time even, but just be sure to do everything safe because I love and care about each and every one of you. But because it is Halloween, because it's a spooky season, I haven't done a whole lot of Halloween related stuff. I've done a couple things, but not a whole lot. I did want to at least get one Halloween movie out of the way. Now, I wanted to do two, but unfortunately, I kind of ran out of time because other stuff had popped up in my personal life. But I did want to at least get one Halloween movie out of the way. Now, last year we reviewed Ghostbusters here on the channel. We saw how our ghost hunting friends came together. To who stop some ghosts and save New York City. And 5 years later, they gotta do it all again. I'm talking about Ghostbusters 2. Now, of course, as always, I'm not professional movie reviewer or analyst or anything like that. Unlike these guys, I am definitely not a professional, and I'm certainly not a professional hunter. And stuff like that. There is content like that on YouTube, like the ghost hunting and stuff like that. I don't really watch the kind of content because it's not really my thing. But yeah, I'm not professional of any sorts when it comes to that. Just a man who enjoys a good time, a Superman, if you will, who enjoys a good time. And I didn't really have the best time with this movie. At least compared to its original. So, how does it hold up? Well, I kind of gave it away just a moment ago, but let's dive in and find out anyway. So, of course, as always, if you've seen these reviews of mine before, it's been a little while since I've done like a proper dedicated review. But we're gonna have a bunch more coming this weekend, so stay tuned. But if you've seen these reviews of mine before, you kind of already know how this works. You have an idea, at least, of how this works. If you haven't, however, I talk about what I liked and disliked about the movie. I'm going to give a brief plot summary. He just or I say brief, but sometimes plot summaries take a little bit. But I'm going to give a plot summary so we can figure out what's going on. And so without further ado, let's get into the plot summary. As I kind of mentioned at the top of this review, this takes place 5 years after the original Ghostbusters, and 5 years after the original Ghostbusters, they're kind of back to square one. The Ghostbusters, or as they saved New York City, they saved everyone. They stopped the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, and as well as the demonic entity. But they caused a lot of damage, and because they caused a lot of damage, they got not only sued for all the damage that they caused, but they have also been barred from investigating the supernatural, so they're not allowed to do that anymore. Now, we're going to kind of talk about this a little bit more once I get to the likes and dislikes / pros and cons. But it's crazy how this is one of the few I I guess you can consider it sci-fi would you consider sci-fi? Uh, it's considered. I guess it's considered supernatural. So it's listed on the wiki as supernatural comedy. So, sure, but uh, uh, it's crazy how this is one of the few like supernatural slash like sci-fi films I can think of where they save the city and everything, but they still face the repercussions and the reality. And the reality is they cause a lot in property damage. Meanwhile, people like the Avengers and the Justice League get off scot free, but not so Ghostbusters. So well, pretty much their entire operation has been shut down. So well, they kind of go back to not regular jobs, but doing different things. So, Ray and Winston, and for starters, Ray owns an occult bookstore, but he and Winston also are child entertainers. So they show up at children's birthday party. He's even, and we see that kind of in the opening scene where the kid said he wanted He-Man instead. Well, it was 1989, but that's that he got that going for them. Egon works in a laboratory, experimenting with human emotions. That's pretty much the origin of Psycho Man from the Marvel comics. So I want to keep an eye on Egon there. And meanwhile, Peter hosts a television talk show, talking to psychics. It's called The World of Psychics, which I believe was, if I'm not mistaken, and I believe was like a real show at one point. If I'm not mistaken, or at the very least something similar. So, it's pretty clear that they're parodying that in the movie. But I think World of Psychics was in fact, I'm gonna look this up because I could have sworn World of Psychics was like an actual TV show. Uh, I like have memories of probably not watching it as a kid, but like seeing it somewhere. I remember. Oh, or it might be something. Uh, hey, it might be something similar. No, I'm not seeing it. There. The only thing that's coming up is America's Psychic Challenge, and but it says competitive reality TV show. Uh, Okay, I'm just going to read the description here. During a national search of thousands, 16 self-professed psychics were interviewed and tested to gain spots to compete on television. For the program, tests were created by the production company with the stated goal of assessing contestants' supernatural abilities. As each psychic is tested, they're awarded points based on the results of the test. At the end of every show, the two psychics with the highest scores move forward to continue in the competition, and the lower score contestants leave the series. Ultimately, the final two psychics face off to compete for the grand prize of $100,000 and the title of and the title, I should say, of America's number one psychic. So maybe that was the show. Oh, maybe that was it. But I do remember something similar, but maybe I'm just imagining it. But that is where our Ghostbusters are currently. But trouble is afoot. As Dana, who is Peter's ex-girlfriend, no, they did not stay together after the events of the first movie. And if you remember, she was possessed in the first movie. And some chaos ensued, but sadly, they did not stay together, which kind of sucks. I'll say it for the likes and dislikes. But she has a whole baby named Oscar. She got together with a other man. Her ex-husband. She married him. They divorced. And she has a baby named Oscar. Her but her butt. It's but as she's coming down the street with Oscar in the baby stroller, or the stroller, her rolls away, and she tries to follow it, but it's moving very independently. So it's taking several different like weird turns that stroller's going straight up and down or straight up and down an incline, and I should say usually don't make. It's like swerving around cars, driving into traffic. So that means there's some supernatural stuff afoot. So she knows exactly who to call. All that being the Ghostbusters. But meanwhile, at the museum, there is a painting, which is where Dana works as well. There is a painting of Vigo, the Carpathian, who is is well, for starters, he's fictional, but he is a 16th century European tyrant and powerful magician. So similar to um yeah, I guess close comparison would probably be Merlin, perhaps, but pretty much he's a bad guy. So, or at least was, or was he? Because the painting seemingly comes to light. In fact, it does, and it possesses Dana's boss, that being Janaz. Uh, I think I'm pronouncing it correctly. But Hadvigo, it does really possess Janaz, but it kind of recruits him in a way. But Vigo orders Janaz to bring him a child to possess, as which will allow him to escape his painting and conquer the world. And so Janaz ultimately decides to choose Oscar because he kind of has a one-sided kind of romance with Dana. So, he decides, you know what? The best way to get Dana is to kidnap her son, and it, it does hit. Obviously, it's fictional. The commentary of that is very much there, and I do acknowledge that, but I'm not going to bring that up here. But lo and behold, Dana goes to the Ghostbusters, or as they decide to investigate. They excavate at the intersection, and where the incident happened, with Oscar's stroller going all around, as Ray goes down, it's Ray goes down into the sewers or whatever. He finds a river of slime. Some pink slime running who, uh, through the abandoned beach pneumatic transit system. So it's going all through the water essentially. So Ray is able to grab a sample, but he is attacked by the slime. And accidentally causes a blackout. And the Ghostbusters, because they're not supposed to be excavating, and um, because they impersonate construction workers, are arrested and are taken before a judge very quickly, which is not how that works, but it's fiction. But the judge pretty much dresses them down. It's a very one-sided has a very one-sided court case, not helped by the Ghostbusters and them enlisting Lewis from the previous movie. He was the guy who was the neighbor of Dana in their like apartment building, and he is their lawyer, and he's very of course very bumbling and everything, but he does not help their case. He's and the judge pretty much sentences them to I believe jail time. I forget exactly what I said, but jail time and to have their stuff seized. But then the slime comes to life, or at least explodes, I should say, and it manifests in the form of the Scoleri brothers, who the judge happened to sentence to death. So they're back for revenge. The Ghostbusters grab their gear in exchange for the charges being dropped, and they managed to capture the hosts. So they capture the Scoleri brothers, and from there, the Ghostbusters are pretty much back in business, baby. They got the commercials back. They're back to working as Ghostbusters. Meanwhile, in Dana's apartment, and he and Oscar are attacked by slime that comes out of her bathtub. So she flees out of the apartment, which very very reasonable, of course. And she decides to crash with Peter. So rekindling some old flames. Huh? But she decides to stay with Peter. And slowly they start to rekindle their relationship, as to be expected. Meanwhile, the Ghostbusters, as they're experimenting on the slime, they find out how that it reacts to emotions, and they deduce that the slime gets its power or its energy from the negative emotions of New Yorkers. That's right. the negative emotion, the negative feelings of New Yorkers in general are what's powering the slime. It literally feeds on negativity, which is kind of crazy. But sure enough, it feeds on negativity, and it does respond to very different things. It also responds to yelling, which is what caused it to outburst in the courtroom. And it also seems to have an affinity for Jackie Wilson, which, hey, I love Jackie Wilson, so makes sense. But they he also investigate the painting because Dana swears that the painting looks very, very creepy. But it's which is kind of the idea, the painting of Vigo, that is. But they investigate the painting, and they pretty much come to the conclusion that the painting and Vigo are connected, especially after when they analyze the photos that Peter took of the painting, so that it can be analyzed by the rest of the Ghostbusters. Hers, hers the pictures and the room that Egon and Ray are in essentially sets itself on fire, but thankfully Winston is there to save the day. Uh, but but they head into the river of slime that they found. But on the way, hey, some crazy stuff happens. For starters, they see a bunch of heads on pikes, and then they're about to be run over by a train, even though the train tracks have been abandoned for 50 years. All kinds of crazy stuff happening within New York and to the Ghostbusters. But sure enough, they investigate the slime. Winston is pulled in. Egon and Ray dive in after him, and then they emerge from the slime. And they start to fight each other. Her now it says they fight each other, her implying all three, but it's actually more so Winston and Ray. And Egon does realize that at the slime's negative energy is influencing them. It straight up has the same, or at least similar powers to the symbiotes, like the Venom symbiotes. But it's So they go and recruit Peter, who is off on a date uh, with uh, with Dana. Meanwhile, Lewis and Janie, aka Janine, I should say, aka the secretary, there, watching Oscar and getting a little frisky. Nothing too crazy though. But they go and talk to the mayor or about what they discovered when it comes to slime, but they are dismissed. If a lot of the stuff that I'm describing in the plot here sound familiar, or we'll get to it. But they talk to the mayor. Mayor essentially blows them off, and then his assistant, and then has them committed to an insane asylum, or I should say a psychiatric hospital. Well, in order to protect the mayor's political interests, because I guess ghosts are bad for the mayor's political interests, even though ghosts are running rampant. I don't really get it either. But nevertheless, or I guess as just in case they sway the mayor, but the mayor already he dismissed them, so I don't know. It's kind of weird. But anyway, Janaz manages to kidnap Oscar, or he her, and it manifests itself as a spirit. It literally shows but first, Oscar stands up and walks out of the window of his like room that he's in onto the balcony. And Dana tries to go after him, but then Janas shows up, swipes Oscar and heads to the museum. So Dana follows them, and essentially trapped by Janaz and Vigo. And the museum begins to be covered with slime. And sure enough, on New Year's Eve, which is a callback to what happens earlier in the film, earlier in the movie, I should say, because Peter is interviewing the one psychic who says that the end of the world will happen on New Year's Eve. Eve. Sure enough, on New Year's Eve, all kinds of stuff pops up. All kinds of ghosts show up. Slime is everywhere. Slime is covering the museum, and it builds like a wall of slime. One of the funniest parts, though, is when this woman has like this fur coat, and the fur coat like comes to life and tries to bite her, and so she like throws it off, and it like crawls away. That part was kind of funny, but sure enough, but sure or not, of everything's going haywire. The mayor finds out not only what's going on, what everybody finds out what's going on because there's all kinds of calls to the police and everything, and hanging all kinds of chaos, including the freaking Titanic coming back, which commentary is there as well. But again, I'm not going to speak on it. But if you know, you know. But the mayor finds out what exactly happened and that had his assistant essentially committed the Ghostbusters to the insane asylum, and so he fires it. He fires him. He rallies the Ghostbusters back. Or I should say, he asks for the Ghostbusters, and sure enough, the Ghostbusters are released. They try to take out the wall of slime, but they are unable to. But they deduce that a positive symbol will rally the citizens and allow them to take out the slime. So they get hit. They manage to create slime. I'm infused with positive emotions and to animate the Statue of Liberty. So pretty much bring it to life. I'm sorry, Ghostbusters. It still wasn't as cool as when Magneto did in Lego Marvel Superheroes, but oh, it's IJS. IJS. But sure enough, Statue of Liberty shows up. The people are going crazy. The Statue of Liberty comes in with the Jackie Wilson playing, and it's not exactly so. The song is Higher and Higher by or Your Love Keeps Lifting Me by Jackie Wilson, but it's not exactly him. I'm actually not sure who sings it. I could see if I look it up, um, sure enough, the Statue of Liberty shows up. People are hyped, so people are starting to get positive. And sure enough, uh, uh, and sure enough, oh, okay. Let's see. I'm actually reading this Reddit post here, and now that I'm wearing glasses temporarily, I can finally do this. No, it's oh, it's got one for the soundtrack. Okay. Oh, Run DMC. I knew there was Run DMC in there. Here, there's Bobby Brown. Bobby Brown does make a cameo appearance in the movie. Uh, Dougie Fresh. Let's see. Okay. Uh, Oh, okay. So it's sung by Howard Hunsberry. That version is played as the Statue of Liberty. He approaches. Ghostbusters use the positive slime to get rid of the negative slime wall. They go in and to the museum. And they stop Vigo because Vigo's about to possess Oscar, of course. But the Ghostbusters stop them. They take out Janaz, hit him with the positive slime, so he's back to normal. They use the power of the positive. They use the power of positivity. Shout out to the New Day. Hey, hey, but they're taken out physically. They're immobilized, I should say, by Vigo. Vigo manages to get Oscar back, but he's not able to go through with the possession because as the crowd begins singing, showing their positivity, and the positivity weakens Vigo. And he heads back into the painting, and he tries one last ditch effort. He possesses Ray, but the Ghostbusters are sure enough use their normal weapons. They don't cross the streams this time, but they also use the positive slime to defeat Vigo. And so Vigo is defeated, and the painting is replaced by the Ghostbusters in togas, different colored togas, I might add, head holding Oscar. her and everybody happy. So, that, ladies and gentlemen, was at least the plot for Ghostbusters. So, in terms of what I liked and didn't like about the movie, for starter, hers there is a lot of good stuff carried over from the previous film, pretty much keeping everyone's characters intact from the first film. So, Peter is very much still the wisecracker. If anything, it's turned up even more in terms of this movie. Egon's still the brains. Ray's kind of a bit on the bumbling side, not as much in this movie, and Winston's still Winston, but he's played by Ernie Hudson, so that automatically makes him super cool. But Lewis also returns as kind of the bumbling next door neighbor. Her still very much a nerd slash like loser type. Janine gets it's a little bit more to do in this movie besides being just the secretary. Like how she was in the first movie. She gets a little more, or which is cool. Well, Dana's there as well. So a lot of the stuff that kind of made the first movie work is carried over or into this film, and it makes things really really good. But in terms of the characters and their personality, they keep the good stuff intact. The other thing I liked was the soundtrack was pretty cool. The other thing I liked is they kind of oh excuse me, they kind of take a they I want to say you can kind of say a realistic approach, which when it comes to the Ghostbusters and them facing consequences for a lot of their actions, even if it was well intentioned, because even good intentions sometimes can sadly have bad consequences, which is an unfortunate reality of life. But the Ghostbusters, we see how they're able to bounce back and move forward. So that's pretty cool. So some decent stuff there. There's some good fun in the movie. Not as many like funny moments I can think of as the initial movie. But there is still some funny moments, including the moment where like they're testing out the slime and they're telling Peter about how they're testing out the slime. It's implied that both Ray and Egon had relations with the slime, in which nope, not opening that can of worms either. Her I am leaving the can of worms for each one, for each thing closed. But there are moments such as that. In terms of what I didn't quite like about the movie, I mentioned how they carry a lot of stuff from the original movie. Unfortunately, some of that comes back to haunt them because a lot of the stuff within this movie feels kind of samey. In fact, a lot of the plot points that the movie hits, it's like, nobody believes in ghosts. They're fighting with the mayor. The Ghostbusters have to overcome this and that. The Ghostbusters, like, a lot of it feels very samey. It almost feels like they just lifted it from the first movie and just plopped it into this movie. Now, there's a difference between having callbacks to the first movie, which this movie very much does, and then kind of just copying what you did in the first movie. And sadly, this movie feels like it does a lot of the latter, where a lot of stuff is just copied over, or like pretty much just retelling the same thing over again. And I'm also not thrilled we see like Dana and Peter come back together, which is nice, but the dynamics a little off of them. Like it's one thing to have them like go through hoops and hurdles in their relationships, but in their relationship, I should say, but to have them like broken up, not the first movie to do it, certainly wasn't the last, but it felt kind of weird. It felt, I don't want to say unnecessary, but it felt very strange how they went about it. Also, the main villain is kind of boring. I didn't really gravitate towards Vigo. Vigo's kind of he's kind of a lame villain, and I'm not a big fan of him. He feels kind of dull as a villain. And even Janaz, like his kind of like henchman question mark in a way. Even he felt kind of flat. Compared to the first movie, I wasn't admittedly I wasn't a super big fan of the villain from the first movie. He it was alright, but this one feels even extra flat. Like there's nothing really that gravitates you towards the villain for this movie. Vigo. He's almost kind of forgettable. You almost kind of forget that he's there. Like a lot of the other stuff going on is a bit more interesting, and unfortunately, it does make the movie suffer because of it. But and The effects I'm not really going to talk about. The effects are still fine. I mean, they're definitely upgraded from the first movie, including getting the Statue of Liberty walking and going towards its destination. But otherwise, I'm not the biggest fan of, or I should say, um, the effects are still decent. It was 1989. I'm not expecting like mind blowing modern effects because that would just be dumb. But or more so silly. But the effects were what they were. But ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for his review. Even though I didn't quite enjoy this one as much as the first one, excuse me, I still think it was a pretty decent watch. But in the meantime, that's going to do it for this review. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and again, I hope you all have safe, a fun yet safe Halloween. If you did enjoy, please do me a favor: like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, turn on those post notifications so you know every time I upload a video, so you never miss an upload. And let me know in the comment section below what are your thoughts on Ghostbusters 2, my review. Did you like the movie? Did you like my review of the movie? Let me know. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you guys later. Peace.